order. Town Palmyra Board meeting, October 9th, 2023, 5:30 PM at the Palmyra Town Hall. Certification of compliance with open meeting law.
It was posted on the board and the website.
Roll call.
Sauter,
Here.
Martins,
Here.
Gaiski,
Here.
Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Approved minutes from September 19th, 2023, special town board / budget workshop meeting, and September 21st, 2023, town board meeting, and September 28th, 2023, special town board meeting / budget workshop meeting.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from the September 19th special town board budget workshop, the September 21st town board meeting, and the September 28th special town board budget meeting.
Motion has been made to pass all three minutes for each meeting. Is there a second?
I would second it if we can make some amendments to what was presented.
which particular one?
The 21st.
Okay. I was gonna ask about if I got the name right of the person that was elected to the Blue Spring Lake District. I put Greg.
That's
Craig?
Amelia,
Oh.
or Emmy, depending on.
A-M-E-M.
E-M.
E-M?
Amelia.
Okay. E-M-E-L-I-A?
Yep.
Okay.
And then under old business number 4 and old business number 6 and new business number 4, new business number 9, there's a motion and a second and a vote, and then under that is more discussion. And just the way that it's written, it looks like we had discussion after the vote was taken. And I'm wondering if we can reorganize those to potentially put the vote at the end, because
So have the motion that was made, then the discussion, and then the all ayes motion carried afterwards?
that would be my suggestion. So it looks like we voted on it after the discussion and then didn't have discussion after the vote.
Which we did.
Okay. So,
Correct.
you said 4 and 6
So,
in old business?
yeah, old business 4, old business 6, and new business 9.
And then I'll make that a change in procedure. Going
That was the thing, it caught my eye on, given the fact that there were essentially that many of them, rather than just ending in a vote like the rest of the items. Obviously, we had a lot of them on that agenda too,
Yep.
but, and then on that same meeting, new business number 4 was a discussion on Truin Lane. And I just wanted to make a clarification, potentially, if it was read that way, that the land that's on either side of Truin Lane is owned by different owners than the requester of getting that right-of-way dissolved. It says that the land it says the road is owned by.
Where are you reading?
It's in front of me, I just made the corrections.
Half of the road is his and half of the road is the town's? That's.
No, there's a section about, how Burlingham owns land.
Let me bring it
Yeah,
up.
fair enough.
Oops. I found it.
Right, cool.
What, which part?
Yep, new business 4.
4, okay.
Dissolve the easements here, it's the paragraph right above where you are, right there. The road is owned by Zwerschneck and Tom Burlingham. Burlingham owns parcels on both sides of it,
Not the road?
well, technically, yeah, I think. That's part of what our homework effort was
Town of Bellingham owns parcels on each side of the road.
Correct. That would be my amended second.
Motion was made, seconded, with amendments. All in favor of passing the minutes with the amendments?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Approve bills as presented, roll call vote.
We had the bill for Hooper Road from Scott Construction was $69,359. Bright Speed for the month was $117.09. United States Treasury, I've been sending the check on a quarterly basis for what we owe them and have not had a problem except for last month. It got there 2 days late. And so I called them up about it, and they said they had quite a few people that it came late, and so they're suggesting that as soon as you get it, to send the next month, to process it and send it, rather than what they have said in their documentation of what to do. So we owed $109 for a late fee. So the very next one is, as soon as I got the next quarter's report to do, I processed it and sent it out for $2,019.60. Lowry's salary was $3,232.25. Martin's salary was $230.87. Gajewski's salary is $230.87. Sauter's salary plus some mileage reimbursement and other reimbursements for a conference and registering a deed was $697.22. Quill is our paper and ink distributor, and I had to order both, so that was $472.95. Jonathan Hooper takes care of the cemetery, and he had 7 mowings, plus this is the time of year where we send out the annual fee for taking care of the cemetery, so that was $1,125. Lang Enterprises for signs was $179.40. Town Web Design, this is the time of the year where we get their fee for the year. That was $519. Jefferson County Highway for signs and some patch material was $2,050.10. The Village of Palmyra, the public safety for the fire and EMS was $55,154. Rural Insurance does a workers' comp audit, and that was for $6. TS Technology Solutions, which is our IT guys, because they had to do some work with the computers, it was $247.75. CNA Surety was for the 2-year treasurer bond, that was $170. First Citizen State Bank was the payment this year for the loan for Little Curry Road was $86,267.61. And then we got our latest round of invoices from Northwest Services. I talked to Pat, and I took off the overpayment, so that came down to $21,515. Any questions?
I got 2 questions
Okay.
on the, you had emailed us, I think, a couple of weeks ago or a week or so ago about the 2 from Jefferson County for the highway
Yes.
and bridge funds. Have we heard back on the $941 piece of the puzzle with that?
They said that was material someone came and took and used for the town of Palmyra. That was the patchwork. Do you have the invoice? Does somebody have the invoice? Oh, you got it, okay.
Yeah, I'm certain of it.
Yeah. Is there a note on the front? There was like 3 pages with it, and I think I wrote a note on the front. Because then they took off some of it because it's gonna be part of the aid that we have. So they took off, what, $7,000 or something, because that's part of the aid packet that we have with them.
Did you say somebody from the town of Palmyra picked something up?
No, I said it was material that was picked up and used in the town of Palmyra.
Who was it picked up by?
You guys don't use the county, do you?
So,
Alright, then we gotta continue following.
okay.
Not continue continue the item, but continue follow-up, because if Ron's guys didn't go get cold patch, I don't know who would have.
We don't use cold patch.
Well, that's
Right.
hand in hand with the answer, I guess, but,
And you said that was like the 904 or something?
941.64.
you got it.
Okay.
I guess I mean, one way or the other, if they've got a yard ticket for it or something.
Okay. Was that it, or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Sorry.
okay, all right. So then roll call vote, Sauter,
Aye.
Martins,
Aye.
Gieske,
Aye.
Public comment, do we have anyone?
Yes, we do.
Bonnie Wilson.
Bonnie Wilson, W1269, State Road 59. My only comment is regarding the 5-member board versus 3. And as someone who always supported 3-member, after attending the budget meetings, the workshop meetings, I can see a definite benefit for 5. If you'd had 2 people carried over from last year, it would have made those meetings go quicker, answer a lot of the questions that you raised. And also, if you have 5, maybe you have 2 people on your committee, so if one person can't make it, the other person can make it. And then I've listened to the reasons of the other people that they've given, and they seem to outweigh the benefits. So that's my only comment.
Reports, treasurer.
Treasurer's report, in the general fund, we had $323,523.31. Tax account, we had $9,020.30. The LGIP general, we had $450.10. LGIP fire and EMS was $2.82. The airport had $43,141.45, and the LGIP airport was 55 cents. We'll file it.
Any questions?
Do you have a date on when we're gonna move cash into the LGIP?
I just got the documents today from them. We've been trading phone calls, and I finally sent an email, and they responded to that. So she gave me, and I've got notes on it, the process to use. We can send a check, we can do it by wire, we can do ACH. And she said, depending on how you do it, we could get charged a fee. So I've got to read over it and then let you guys decide on which one you want to do.
The fee less example is writing a check to them. Then you just gotta send an email to them that says that X amount is on the way.
Yep.
And they'll book it for that.
So. And then she said, there's no limit on how often you can take a check out, so you just have to give them a heads up within enough time to meet whatever thing it is that you're trying to cover, so.
So does that have to come back again, or are you okay proceeding with?
Oh, yeah, I just have to read over the documentation, the process to do it, yeah. And then we're good to go.
Okay, thanks.
Mhm.
Anything else? Number 2, highway, Ron.
Okay, few things. Do you wanna do potholing this year? November 15th is kinda like the average when Pain and Dolan shuts down asphalt. It depends upon the weather, obviously, and if they got something big going, which I don't know about anything right now that is gonna hold them open. So, we need to do that. I don't see very many potholes at all in my mind, unless somebody's seen a lot. As much driving around as we do, I see very little that needs to be done. So you can wait it out if you wanna wait until next month and get it done between the meeting and the next one. That's up to you guys.
How about our audience? Is there any potholes out in your area?
There's one on Tamarack, just a small one right now, it's near that great big one that was filled in. This one's a little bit north of that by Polson's, beyond Polson's place.
What do you wanna do?
Can you
Vincent?
make a list and potentially send it to you?
Sure, the only thing is, when we do potholes, we also do breakage out of the shoulders where the shouldering's bad and it's busted the side off, so keep that in mind when you make the list, because that, we do have a lot of that in Palmyra every year. And that's what keeps the road from busting off even more. Yeah, that would be great, because otherwise we'll drive all the roads ourselves with hauling the machine and 3 people, and so it'd be cheaper if you can pick the roads and say, yeah, these are what we need. And then, I've talked to the other towns, and I'm willing to offer my help if you guys wanna do some kind of an emergency protocol, because this last time, I'm willing to buy more road closed signs, but the police department called me like, I had like 50 things to block all the roads off, and I don't. And, there was one, which everybody knows this, on, Carlin's Trails, the power was down, wires were down, and the trees were tied up for 4 days before we could get in there to do it. Now, the first day the power wasn't shut off. The second day the power shut off. So for a whole day, those wires laid on the road with hot power. So, do you want to? I'm working with Jefferson right now. I'm talking to you guys. I'm going to talk to Cold Spring, Hebron, and try to get something together, because like I had 13 people out there when it happened, and we got all the roads open that day, but we went and checked for the power ourselves. And I will, like I said, I will buy more. We put cones up everywhere. We had cones everywhere.
So what are you looking for, a little monetary?
Well, No, I'm just looking, if you guys wanna set a plan together, let's put our heads together. I'll get with every town, and then we can, between 5 towns, obviously, we're gonna get a lot more info on how to maybe do it better. Somebody that's done this, or somebody that's done that. And what I'm saying, I'm willing to share all that. I'm willing to invest time, come to a meeting if you guys need me to, and share what I'm learning from everybody.
That'd probably be at the highway meeting, Josh?
That'd be a good place to start with it.
That sounds good, Ron.
Okay, so if you guys.
Work with Josh, obviously.
Okay. And then the last thing is, and I don't know if you've seen all the bills, but we just helped Tina put the pictures, match the pictures to the invoices, and she said that saved her hours and hours. So I just sent one of my employees over, gathered it all together, and put it together so you could just pull up the invoice and the pictures that match that invoice, because that you're gonna have to do.
Yeah, because I just loaded up the pictures you gave me
Yeah,
to meet that one deadline, yeah.
Yeah, but this end, at the end here, to get paid, my understanding, because now I gotta, I'm backing up, my understanding is that when you say GPS locations for this, you have to have the picture for that GPS location for that road. We have that. We have the exact tree that was laying there, GPS for that invoice that day. We'll help you do that. I can have, and she'll help you to get whatever program you need. It's one of my employees,
Okay.
actually did it, like I said, for Tina.
Yeah,
So,
because I think at this point, we only had like 4 pictures.
oh, you'll have 70 pictures.
Okay.
Because what happened is during the middle of this, the program that we were using, since we knew it couldn't be shared, we changed. Because the program worked for us, but it may not work for you.
Yeah,
So this way, she can put it all together and then give you that program. And then if you have any questions about how good it was, you could talk to Tina, and then maybe find out what program she's got. It's whatever she uses, we made it fit that.
okay.
So I think that will help a ton, because I know that, the employee that's helping her has actually been out on the job seeing these. So some of them she can even look at and tell what road they're on.
I just want to compliment you on Marsh Road. You did an excellent job, and I had 3 or 4 people call me and let me know when they're seeing me on the street.
Good.
And one of them was, if Donnie Miller could call and compliment you, it's doing pretty good out there. He was very, very happy to let you know that, and I think you've done a great job, so.
Absolutely, thanks.
Okay, now we did approve the bills, and that was,
You sign it then.
And I believe
Thursday?
Yep. We have Mill Road to do, we have Carlin over here to do, and we have two that I'm gonna look at tomorrow over on Tower that fell into the field, but my guys believe it's within the easement, within the 33 feet of the center line.
Now, speaking of that, we have to have a vote on that to pass that amount of money or approve it, don't we, to turn that in?
I don't know.
Well,
Have
on
you-
your end, yes, I believe so, because the other towns are doing the same thing. They're gonna call a special meeting to do it, to make sure you, it's all, because otherwise you'll okay it, it won't be okay through you guys to get paid to go to them.
Okay, so when we get the total, we'll have that on a special meeting and,
After we get the final. invoices.
Right, and I'm thinking that's gonna be Thursday, and I'll definitely let you know. It might even be before Thursday, but I keep on estimating stuff and I'm day fucked, because once they're out there and doing it,
okay.
we came in way under what we had set, thought it was originally gonna be though.
Well, you didn't know
Right.
what was out there.
Well, that's good, I'm glad to hear that.
Thanks, Ron.
Thank you.
Yep,
Thank you guys. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Your work.
Number 4, airport.
No fire department?
Yep, number 3, not here, I've written that down already. It's 2 months in a row. I know the last month, though, they had that LP training at the park. I saw some on Facebook or whatever, but they had training that day, so. But I will be in touch with them. They do have a new chief of police. Some of you will recognize his name, but it's not the same person, Scott Pavlik. Pavlik. Still spelled the same way, but anyway. Boy, he's walking in here just about the right time, I see.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. Okay. Airport, I've got nothing on that, we'll be into that a little bit later. Blue Spring Lake District,
I have no comments or updates.
number 6, building inspector.
I didn't have anything.
7, nothing on the emergency management plan. And number 8, the sheriff's report.
Full time.
How you doing tonight?
Good, good. How's everyone in here? Good.
What, anything to report in the area as far as,
So, I guess I don't have anything as far as, anything of importance. Nothing that I'm aware of as far as crime or recent crime that has occurred in this area. I guess if anyone has any questions about anything in the area or would like anything addressed in the area, I can do my best to answer. Yes, ma'am.
Wasn't there something that just went on this last weekend over at Rick Jelenick's place? They said something about somebody took a battery out of one vehicle there and then went over to Marion's and tried to put it in that vehicle.
Which day was that?
I think Sunday, I'm not sure, it was,
Okay, that I'm not aware about.
okay.
that's down behind Wilson's down there.
Okay.
Wilson Sport. back
Yeah,
in there.
that I'm not aware of that. I don't know if that occurred maybe on day shift or third shift. I primarily work second shift, so I guess sorry.
I'm sure it was probably during the night.
Yeah, I guess I'm not a whole lot of help on that one.
I will say, I learned this at Wilson's, there's an ATV usually out back,
Okay,
but shouldn't be sitting out back, right? It should be in the building. And the key's been left on it for years, but somebody unhooked it from a boat and decided to do all types of donuts and and so forth. And then they just parked it back there and left the key in it. They didn't take it, but,
wow,
so they got some shenanigans going on back in that area,
okay.
you know.
And
What is that,
primarily,
Transport Drive?
okay, I will let our dispatch know. We can set up kind of like an extra patrol in that area, especially on third shift. They can sit down there for a period of time, hopefully, one, restrict anyone from continuing that behavior, but two, if they wish to go ahead and do something like that, we can enforce.
I will let you know that we did pass a no truck ordinance, only to certain roads
Okay,
and Little Prairie Road. The rest of the town roads will not be for through traffic with trucks. But
okay,
we have to get it posted first before you can enforce the failure to obey official sign.
okay, so do we have any estimated time on when it would be posted?
I have to meet with Tyson to get the proper signage made, and that'll take 6 to 8 weeks to get done,
Okay.
so. And we did talk to somebody here, you talked to the sheriff about that, as far as enforcement. Obviously, it can be enforced,
Yeah,
so.
and it definitely makes it a lot easier, with the, basically failure to obey sign, rather than having it posted no trucks, rather than having a weight limit on it, or enforcing the weight limit, cause that's a lot harder for, say, someone like me not equipped with the certification to do all that stuff, but I can certainly write citations all day long for not obeying a sign anytime I drive or a truck, period.
What's your name again?
Deputy Dainert, Logan Dainert.
Okay, thank you for coming in, we really appreciate it tonight.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions before I head out? I got a couple more meetings I'm gonna try to run to and get everyone in. So, all right, thanks everyone.
Don't speed.
Yeah, no.
Thank you.
I wonder.
Correspondence.
I didn't have anything.
Okay, moving into old business. Number 1, discussion and possible action on what has been paid by the town and the airport commission to the village pertaining to the rezone of the airport and stormwater professional services and any legal bills for legal advice.
Shall I?
Yeah,
Been in correspondence with Commissioner Lathrop in the last couple of weeks here. Also the Village of Palmyra, some new items of interest for everybody related to not that list, but the one underneath it. So the bill for the stormwater credit application that totaled $3,477.38 has been paid by the consulting engineer that did the stormwater project for the airport, as well as the bill for $1,732.50, which is invoice 2212. So we're talking about invoice 2203 and invoice 2212 have been paid by the consulting engineer.
Is it Strand?
So that takes a big majority of that off the table. The outstanding balance of $3,466 is indeed that, it's outstanding, it was related to the rezoning. There's also 2 additional items under the invoice 2237. One was again related to the stormwater application credit that was undertaken for that project. And then there's 300 and some change there for rezoning. Invoice 2211 and invoice 2237 are outstanding. Last week our clerk received notice from the village that they were going to impose late fees finally 5 months after the fact. Additionally, I also found out that these bills that we've been talking about for the better part of 3 months here, that Strand paid, actually had been paid about 2.5 months ago. So somewhere along the line, we lost the communication train of who had paid for what, and we've been debating and discussing realistically over $247.50 that's outstanding, assuming that we're willing to pay the rezone bills. In talking with Commissioner Lathrop, additionally, the airport, I believe it was 2 months ago, or at least 2 meetings ago, had met and made an informal, formal offer that was pending town approval to pay $3,500 towards the entirety of the list, which realistically, if you were to scroll down a little farther, I believe on your worksheet, sorry, my voice is already starting to peter out on me. The light green box that says APC and the questionable 50-50 split box below it, if you sum those together,
$3,228.75.
and then if you add back in on top $247.50, their portion, so to speak, of the airport application stormwater credit, we're pretty much dead on $3,500 that they have already approved to pay towards all of this. They would reimburse the town or send a check to the town as soon as there's notice. In a roundabout way of correspondence between myself and Commissioner Lathrop, and then he and one of the other airport commissioners. They had made that action to pay $3,500, and it is not undone at this point. So if the town board believes that that is an adequate approach, we would be paying the combination of $3,466 out of invoice 2211 and $398.75 out of invoice 2237. We would notify the airport commission that we accepted their $3,500 offer, and we finally get to move forward. So with that, I would make a motion that the town accept the $3,500 payment from the airport commission towards the legal and professional service fees related to the airport stormwater project and various other items that are outlined in this summary.
Motion's been made to accept the $3,500 offer from the airport commission to pay these remaining bills. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Now, the fire chief just walked in, so we're gonna have to back up for a second. We started at 5:30, but you didn't know that,
Neither
right?
did I.
So we will back up to the fire department.
Sure. So the fire department had 13 calls for service in September, 7 of which were in the town. It represents 53% of the calls for the month. That is 13% over the call volume for last year. I did bring back some information about the dry hydrants, if you want to talk about that now, we can do that.
Go ahead.
Okay. I sent one of my employees to review the couple of dry hydrants that we had in the town. The one at Blue Spring Lake appeared to be functioning appropriately. He made some recommendations for maybe some better signage, advising that there was a dry hydrant down there, but realistically that doesn't negate its functionality, so. That one appeared to be functioning just fine. The one at the egg farm, however, does have a leak. He was unable to pull a draft or pull any water out of there. And that's consistent with information that I had about that particular dry hydrant. So that one will have to be inspected and repaired. The only other notes that he made were just access to that particular dry hydrant is difficult. There's not like it's not like a hardtop driveway or even a gravel driveway, so there's some potential for apparatus to get stuck back there, so he mentioned potentially reviewing that. So outside of that, those are the updates for the 2 hydrants.
So we got one good one and one bad one.
Yes, sir.
If it's all right with you guys, I'll get together with you and we'll go over it and then figure out what it takes to fix this and a rough cost or whatever.
Yeah, and then from a permitting perspective, it's my understanding that the hydrant on Blue Spring Lake is exempt from permitting, just due to the fact that it's municipal owned. That's town property from my understanding, right, the boat launch there, so it should be exempt. I did not hear back from the DNR whether or not the other dry hydrant was permitted or not, but typically that's just for installation purposes, not necessarily upkeep or anything like that.
Okay.
Yes, I'm happy to make myself available.
Tell us about the new chief.
Yeah, so new public safety director, police chief started on October 3rd. So he was sworn in last week, Monday. Is hitting the ground running, getting his feet underneath him. We kind of divided and conquered tonight. I would have hoped to be able to bring him here tonight, but we had some budget meetings going on as well that were concurrent with this. So I'll bring him by for the next meeting. But his name is Scott Pavlock. He's a police officer through and through, so, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yep, you bet.
Old business number 2, discussion and possible action on the amendment of section 11.04, paragraph F8, A3 agricultural/rural residential of the Jefferson County zoning ordinance and an amendment to the county comprehensive plan and farmland preservation land plan. Okay, we did get an update, and a little bit more information here,
Yeah,
gentlemen.
you got that email from Matt on it.
Let's see what they're doing. If somebody has 3.5 acres, well, they can put up a 1.5 acre lot. That's basically what it comes down to, doesn't it?
Yeah, if it's created, what,
Before 2000, yeah.
yeah.
Any thoughts on it? We just have to give it approval that we,
I don't have any issues with it.
you know, either. We need a motion, right?
Right, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I make a motion that, I'm just trying to read the right stuff here. I make a motion that we approve the amendment of section 11.04 F8, the A3 agricultural rural residential of the Jefferson County zoning ordinance and amendment to the county comprehensive plan and farmland preservation land plan as laid out by the county.
Motion's been made by Supervisor Martins to go ahead and approve the agricultural section 11.04 F8 A3 agricultural rural residential zoning for Jefferson County. So,
Second.
any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, sorry.
Discussion and possible action to approve a fee schedule for open records requests. Al, you want to interject on this?
Well, I knew this was an agenda. I don't know if there's any sort of a working document that the board is looking at. I did bring along a couple copies from the Wisconsin Department of Revenue that I think are kind of good guides for us to use as a drafting guide. I also brought something along from the Department of Justice, but it's quite similar.
Last month, we had a figure of what we thought was 17 cents, but it was supposed to be 15 cents. Is that out of line?
Well, I think what they've done at the state level is they've actually tried to break it down to, for them, what their cost per page is for making a hard copy. I don't know what Laura would tell us what that amount is for documents. We actually have to print out what our cost per page shakes out to be. As you'll see at the Department of Revenue, they've got 1 cent per page for black and white, 6 cents per page for color. I don't think we'd have a problem justifying a higher amount. I suspect that we don't have quite the same bulk that they do at the state level. And our fees would be a little bit higher.
I need 550 pages, it costs $63, so let's figure that out.
Well, again, it's based on, primarily it's gonna be based on what the clerk does, not the individual board members. However, if you wanna break it down that way, we can at least use that for discussion purposes.
I'm gonna get back to my calculator.
So like you're saying, because I just bought a box of paper, I just had to buy new paper because of the open records request for absentee ballots. Used up quite a bit. So you're saying take the cost of that per page? that we would have just paid for those supplies,
Yeah,
identify it that way?
I'm sort of guessing at how Department of Revenue came up with this.
Okay.
That's my guess, is that they did some sort of a assessment of what their actual costs were over several months, then reached a number that they decided they would use for all requests.
Do you have a suggestion?
Are you asking me?
No.
That's your-
That's your Josh.
My suggestion is the same as it was last month, in lieu of, I mean, the statute's clear, it says that the direct and actual cost of the cost of reproduction. And my discussion last month was take a box of paper, divide it by the sheets we get, take an ink cartridge and figure out what the capacity ballpark says that it is, and that's our cost per page. If we wanna do something different, I'm obviously open to any suggestion or what have you. I misquoted last month the attorney, email from Attorney Larson at 17 cents, and it actually said 15 cents. So if we're gonna nickel and dime this to death,
I'm not trying to nickel and dime you guys, I just brought this along.
No,
for discussion purposes.
Right, I'm not pointing fingers or blame, I'm just saying, one way or the other, we need to come up with a cost, because this is essentially the third month that we've had this conversation, and one of the other pieces of this is, how do we come down to an actual figure for our hourly costs for a salaried employee? And that's something that we haven't really been able to put anything to. Last month, again, I opened my mouth with an opinion that was not relevant to the way that the Department of Revenue actually looks at employees, and it does not matter how many hours per se, they don't define full-time or part-time. So one of our issues is we have a generally not 2,080 hour a year position and a salary, and we need to try to figure out what that hourly cost is, because in some cases that may be as or more significant than what the actual copying costs are. You know, at the end of the day, we just need to figure out what we're allowed to do and or what those costs actually are and move forward with it, in my mind. I mean, the cost of a flash drive is relatively direct. At any point in time, we can order one on Amazon and say, here's the invoice, here's what it costs. But the hourly cost and the cost per page.
Well, I agree with you on the cost per page, where you should be able to take the receipt, what you paid for the ream of paper, the case of paper, determine how many, what was paid divided by the number of sheets. And that should get the cost per page, per sheet. And then we just need to determine what your hourly rate's gonna be. Or what it should be, I should say, to charge back. So I agree with Josh.
I mean, the hard part is that last month I made a recommendation to use 1,040 hours a year as the starting point for taking Laura's salary and dividing it by 1040 to come up with an hourly rate. But number one, that doesn't hold credence with Department of Revenue and all of that as far as defining a full-time or part-time employee. But above and beyond that, through continued correspondence and discussion, I don't think that 1,040 hours is really the amount of hours that we book, so to speak, in a year on that side of it. So I don't know if there's really a mechanism for us to be able to say, this is Laura's wage, these are the amount of hours, and come up with a logistic thing, because it floats depending on the time of the year, and it floats probably year to year and everything else. So I don't know at the same point that we can logistically say, okay, she's a salaried employee that's equivalent to 2,080 hours and divide her wage by that, because that's getting stretched further and further from what the actual day-to-day is.
I think, Laura, in my opinion, estimate for the last 12 months how many hours you put in.
I couldn't do that.
We have to come up with something, and it changes year to year, so we come back and we look at the rate every year, but we have to come up with some sort of guesstimate. I agree with Josh, some sort of guesstimate on how many hours you work, divide your salary by that, and that's the cost per per hour that we would charge back. But we have to have some sort of guesstimate to do it, unless we're just going to say cost of staff time not to exceed $30 an hour, so we put it at 25 or 30 and go with that. I mean, other than that, we have to come up with some sort of estimate, so. And so Al, if we come up with something like 25 or 30, because that's at or below the fee schedule here, is that sufficient, or do we have to have backup on how we arrived at that?
No, I think that's sufficient. You know, you're looking at what the going rate is for someone to do that work. You know, I think this, you know, certainly this, and I think we've also got, see what the Department of Justice charges. They charge $22.54 per hour. They list that as their lowest possible hourly rate. Now, that's a situation where they've got kind of different levels of employees they can assign to the task. We have one employee that we can assign to the task. So I think anything 25 to 30 would be reasonable and really wouldn't likely cause any problem with scrutiny if somebody looked at this and challenged it in court.